Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is April the 13th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, with high hopes. As for me, I'm going to be honest with you guys, be straight with the mood. Kind of shitty, kind of bleh, kind of bleh. But overall, I can definitely say it's been a good week. Not too much to report food corner wise as of Thursday. But I will say I went to El Trumpo with some friends after like work. Like we all got together after work. And El Trumpo is like a Mexican restaurant. I haven't really been there in a little bit. But actually this time I didn't really gorge myself because I'm trying to budget and trying to, live a little bit more carefully again. And I just got a beer and, just chilling. And one of my friends, she just didn't want the rest of her fries, and I was like, "All right, yeah, I'll take them." And they were like a little bit of a carne asada fries, or AKA steak fries, I think, right? I don't know, but it was really yummy. They were good. So that's a dub for me. But yeah, like I said, not every week's gonna be a super sunshiny week. But I will say the weather is beautiful right now in Ohio. It's nice. It's nice to get a good change. I was talking to my coworker, and I'm like, we're still in that phase where I don't trust it yet. I don't trust spring yet. I don't feel safe until May. Yeah, hopefully we don't have any like snap cold weather or anything like that. But I can handle like, waking up and it's around the 50s in the morning and then we get up to the 70s, 80s. Like, okay, that's nice. All right. Yeah, right now it's my computer's telling me it's 82 degrees right now. It's sunny. Ooh. Also, I got my oil changed today, so yay, that awesome. So I mean, hey, we're being productive. We're being efficient this week as I like to do. But other than that, I won't bore you with the personal news anymore. We can get into some real news, the guts. All right. So from NBC News, FBI arrests 21-year-old Air National Guardsman suspected of leaking classified documents. FBI agents took Jack Texiera into custody Thursday afternoon without incident, attorney General Merrick Garland announced. So I'll give you a little bit of a rundown here. I'm not gonna stick probably too much to this shit, but this is to the article by this shit. But this is an update from the leaked documents we talked about last week. I know I said a lot of it was focused on Ukraine information that U.S. intelligence has compiled, and it got leaked from a Discord, to other Discords, to Twitter, 4chan. It was all over. Now, I also found out a little bit more as of today about what some of the documents were. Well, not just today. I've been kind of like, learning and living along the way. But I will say I listened to, what was it, The Daily, and they had an amazing just episode about what all like was about. And this, obviously the episode had taken place, but I think he had just got arrested yet today. So this was like breaking news a little bit. So this all is kind of like crashing, moving fast. But it's not really surprising considering how big the leak was. Now, I've heard that, in some circles that initial reports were like, oh, it's not that big of a leak. It's just like super damaging because it's recent. But I've also heard as of this article that there's like 300 photos of information. Now, let's talk about Jack though, because Jack's kind of obviously very important since like I said, I speculated that it most likely would have been like a Russian leak, considering how there was like doctoring of information or whatever. But obviously, we're seeing now. Also, he was arrested in Massachusetts. But we're seeing now this is an American, 21 years old. So I mean, more or less a youngin. But obviously old enough to know what you're doing. Old enough to go to war, brother. But Air National Guard. I think he's been a part of the National Guard since like 2019. But he is like not bad in terms of like, I think he was like high rank in terms of like he, did a good job or whatever. So he had like good marks is what I mean. Not necessarily like high standing. Let's see. Trying to think here what we want to talk about, if I want to pull any more from the article. but he was known as the OG online. So, like, also I think the name of the server was like Thug something. Also, this kid was like racist, so that's like I don't feel bad for cooking him at all. There's like a Taku article that also covers it. There's a lot coming out as it is, and obviously I'm gonna miss some stuff here. But in terms of just more on like what the leaked documents were, a lot of it all like was centered around Ukraine, and I guess Jack wanted to like impress people in this Discord server because they were like looking up to them. They're like younger kids and things of that nature. And when people weren't impressed, they would also talk about like these gun YouTubes and things of that nature. So like Jack would flex and he'd like show them more documents and like I think I read I don't know if this was actually from the Discord. It might have just been from whatever, but it said source this dick. I don't know. That's not really relevant to this article or anything like that, but for some reason that just made me laugh because it's like a meme. But just it just reminded me that the energy of this is just so young, and essentially this person, this Jack, he just wanted to be noticed. He wanted to like have this control, and he thought he was doing something big by like showing these classified fucking documents. Now, granted, this shit sat for about a month. We're just now kind of finding out about it. But obviously, it's crazy that the Biden administration just found out about it the same time you or I found out about it. Like, that's crazy. Like, last week. So, obviously, that's no good. That's obviously a big hole. But other allied countries that were affected, let's see, Israel, also Egypt. We talked about South Korea. But with like South Korea, it was more focused on the ammunitions issue, which we also talked about from like the leaked documents, the lack of ammunition that they needed to kind of like finish this war. Also, there was more talk about like how the American like intelligence is really viewing the war right now, how they're not really stoked that this offensive coming up, this counteroffensive coming up this spring, might not be the decisive thing that we want to see, and that would be bad, and that's not good. Also, they asked a lot of these like really like kind of scary questions, like what would happen if Putin died? What would happen if Zelensky died? But didn't give any like answer to said question. It's just like they're popping it out. It's like this like all this brainstorm information was also leaked out. Let's see. In terms of Israel, they wanted more support. I can't remember quite. I think it might have been for like the anti-air stuff, like anti-air missile stuff, since they've been having to deal with a lot of artillery from Russia's side. And also talking about how like the unwillingness from both sides, like from South Korea and Israel, to like kind of commit more or be more direct in it. Also, back to South Korea. I know I'm zigzagging here. Sorry, just keep out with me. Follow me. There was receipts, maybe not necessarily receipts, but like how much would this all cost to send this ammunition? And also that this is kind of an issue for South Korea to even do because they're not supposed to be sending any kind of lethal aid. Like the aid that they were supposed to be sending was more like financial, more like support. We've kind of talked about like I think Japan has done this where they send helmets and like armor, things of that nature. They're not sending any like ammunition or things like that. But because South Korea is like the one that makes this HIMAR ammunition, they really needed them to come through. So all this is kind of getting laid out on the table. This seems to be all for some petty flex on a Discord to impress some people. I don't know what games they were playing on the server, but eventually this does wind up going to a Minecraft server, which I found pretty funny, and I really hope that this fucking guy played Minecraft, but there's no confirmation of that. Diesel Pete's, like I said, there's probably gonna be more to unfold here. Might hit the story again. Like I said, this is crazy shit, but don't want to cover and kind of elaborate more, give an update. But we can move along now to another update that we have. And actually, I'm going to take an early break, a pre-break, if you will. Oh, yeah. All right. From Politico. Tech consultant arrested in killing of Cash App founder Lee. Now, we talked about Bob Lee's death last week. He was stabbed to death early morning. Actually, I think the time was like around 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, there was a bit of a fallout, this being San Francisco, a lot of focus on crime, all this. But there seems to be a quick arrest. Nima Momeni, who is 38 years old, was booked on suspicion of murder. San Francisco Police Chief Bill Scott said during a news conference. San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins said Momeni will be charged with murder in Lee's death and is expected to be arraigned by Friday. Now, there's not much details in terms of what exactly is the reasoning behind this? What's the alleged motive? That hasn't been, announced yet. But I believe that they work together at some point. And I also believe that Momeni, trying to pronounce that right, he has his own, tech startup thing now. He was doing his own kind of thing. But, this is a big development that I wanted to cover. Also, I feel like this kind of puts some air into this whole crime conversation, because even the likes of Elon fucking Musk was talking, directly to San Francisco attorneys via Twitter or whatever, what are you going to do about this? And it's dude, we're doing the best we fucking can. One, boom, they got the guy, at least allegedly, whatever. And two, if this is the guy and it holds true, then guess what? This is some kind of personal fucking issue. And especially because when people are talking about crime, I don't know. It is one of those things where it's we're talking about urban people, the poor urchins on the street. Really, we're talking about they're trying to say everything but poor black people in this conversation without saying it. But clearly, boom, you see this person, and it's this is some personal issue. That's why I can understand why, San Francisco, they came out and were hey, we're defiant here. We're telling you, there's a quote here. Bill Scott. This is from Bill Scott. This doesn't have to do with San Francisco. This has to do with human nature. So that there's that issue here. I'm not necessarily being beholden to that quote. When we talk about crime here, we're usually talking about the systematic issues that lead to it. But this was a big development. I obviously am going to keep you guys posted. Sorry, I kind of got a little bit derailed there. I fucking hate Elon Musk, man. I fucking hate Elon Musk, dude. I know that shit makes me red. It throws off my whole fucking shit. And sadly, that's kind of a problem for me, because this is about Bob Lee, a man who was living his life, doing his thing, and his life was ended, tragically too soon. So obviously, condolences to him, and I will keep you posted on what comes next with that. Another update on this fine Thursday. This one's really bringing a smile to my face. This is from Politico. Second Tennessee state lawmaker reinstated. So Justin Parsons, who was the second lawmaker reinstated, and then Justin Jones, who was reinstated earlier this week, have they both made it back. I know if you listen to previous episodes from last week, this struck a chord for me. Just obviously my heart isn't in Tennessee or anything like that, never fucking been there, but to hear these representatives stand up for something that they felt charged to do by their constituents, to stand up for this, to fight for some kind of legislation that's actually going to potentially solve an issue, at least help the issue of gun violence. The fact that they stood up and fought for this and then were immediately just shot down. And not just shot down, because it's, like we said before, you could have censored these men. You could have censored them, and also Gloria Johnson was involved, but she obviously, she was fine. She did not get expelled, white woman, whatever. But these two black men did, for this, doing the same thing, for standing up for what they believed in here. In a situation where there is a supermajority of Republicans just shooting down any kind of thing that they don't want to hear. And to actually hear more footage here, to listen and to they would step up and say, hey, I want to talk about this. I know this is the bill you guys are trying to continue on. You want to get back to business as usual, but we have people outside, and they would just get silenced. They would literally get silenced. And after, just seeing that this wasn't getting anywhere, and they were saying even this was them all week trying to fight over this issue, that they took back to the people and said, hey, we want to do something. We want to fight for you guys. We're trying. And then they all came back, and for doing that, and with a megaphone in hand that they did not use in the actual well, they were expelled. But due to the whole process that took place, they were able to, rally, and people just voted them right back in. That's just the process of this whole thing. So, you voted for the appointee, and then boom, there you go. They're back where they need to be. So I'm glad it happened quick as you like, faster than I expected. Like I said, I was in tears. I was sad because, like I said, I not saying, oh, I see myself in them. No. But it's the idea of when you are young, you are told that you got to do your best. You got to try. And if you try, and if you want to put your hands on the wheels of this system, you can change it if you put your hands in and get in. You're told that when you're young. And obviously, when you're black, you know that you're going to have to fight even harder to get to the same places that that white people just get. So the idea that these two representatives did the best that they could for their constituents to get where they were at, and now they are sitting here and nothing is getting done. Nothing is getting done. And all the other Democrats around them are just twiddling their thumbs up their asses doing nothing. Nothing. At least to see people try to buck the trend of just being quiet and just taking it, to me, that's kudos. That's all the flowers. I couldn't ask for more from these people. Obviously Gloria Johnson included, because obviously hearing her story, she had been silenced for most of her career, trying to do the best she could, and whenever she would speak out, she would just get a small retribution of being oh, we're going to actually put your office in the smallest place we can find. They were trying to office space her. That's crazy. So obviously, even though this is a dub, this is great. I don't think this changes much in the status quo. It is good to see them back, and hopefully there will be change, but the supermajority still stands. Also, it kind of remains to be seen if it's going to shake things up in the state itself, because there are Republicans who were happy to see this, conservatives who were happy to see this display, that they were yes, kudos to the Republicans for holding their ground and standing and dealing with insurrectionists. They ate up the line. They ate it. They loved it. So, I hope this does change some shit, but, I'm not going to hold my breath there. But, like I said, yay. From NBC News, Louisville, I'm sorry, Kentuckians, please forgive me. I'm from Ohio, and it shows. Louisville. I'm sorry. Louisville bank shooter was seeing counselor for depression and anxiety, family spokesperson says. His family was working with him and through it, the spokesperson says. That's the bad extent of what they're comfortable sharing at this point. This is, we're talking about the Louisville bank shooting that killed 5 and injured 8. Also, Connor Sturgeon, the shooter, he was also killed. I don't know if I don't think they're naming him in the 5. But this was a shooting that took place. Let me read the victims. Tommy Elliott, who was 63. Juliana Farmer, 45. Jim Tutt, 64. Josh Barrick, 40. And Deanna Eckert, 57. Also, there was 8 injured and 2 were police officers, I'm sorry. Officer Nicholas Welt, 26, was shot in the head. He underwent surgery and was listed in critical condition. Also, the other officer, Corey Galloway, was grazed on his left side, police said. I was listening to Start here, and they said Nicholas Welt, I believe this is like almost like a Training Day situation. Like out of the movie Training Day. He was a newer police officer, probably like one of his like, this is like your first time in something like this big, this intense, and right out the gate you just get shot in the fucking head. So I can't even imagine that shit. Obviously condolences to, the families, those who were lost. But yeah, Connor Sturgeon worked at this bank. I believe, yes, it's Old National Bank. And he had just gotten fired, but I believe I heard that he was, up until like a certain point, doing pretty well in the company, but he would describe himself as like a loner, had like self-esteem issues kind of growing up, things of that nature. That being said, I think him being fired, oh man, that was a girthy burp, sorry. But him being fired, I think, was a snapping point, and he bought a gun, I believe, 6 days ago, something like that, like about a week ago, and obviously it's an AR style rifle, no fucking surprise, easy to fucking get, as fucking easy as goddamn McDonald's fries in this country, and he went to the bank and started shooting. I believe his parents, though, they found out like he had a roommate. His roommate called his parents, and also I think his Connor called his parents as well, like saying goodbye and all that kind of stuff. I think he also left a note. But yeah, they tried to call the police and warn them, let them know that like we can't stop him. He's he's going to do the shooting. But yeah, I mean, it sucks that this is the norm, that, I mean, there is video if you'd like to go, obviously look at that, I guess, go through the whole play-by-play if you like. I really don't want to, because we just do this shit so fucking often, I really can't imagine being a fucking, on-scene reporter or what have you, having to go to these places over and over again. I mean, obviously not over and over. This happens throughout, but like, just seeing it and going through it, and I don't know, it's a bummer. And I do feel bad for the parents in this situation. This isn't a situation where like, oh wow, like, we didn't see this coming, or like this isn't a thing of neglect. They were trying to work with their son, and at the end of the day, there's just only so much you can do as a parent, as a friend, whoever. I think also they're going to check, like do a head scan for like CTE, like a critical traumatic thing. I can't remember what the acronym is, but see if he had any head trauma, which can also lead to like highly erratic behavior, violent behavior, things like that. Also, the event was, sorry, that's fucking content brain. Not an event, but it was live streamed. I often say live stream event if it's big, but some of this I pulled also from CNN. Let's see, I have the title for it. What we know about the gunman who opened fire at Louisville Bank. But yeah, he live streamed on fucking Instagram. It was taken down though. That's oh, and also Bashir. Andy Bashir is governor here, and it was sad to hear that he had friends who actually died in this shooting. I think he said like he had like one really close friend he talked to like every day, and then also another friend who was shot and killed. So it just sucks that the degrees. It's almost like the more this happens, the more it happens, the fear grows that it's gonna be someone you know. I mean, and I hate to say this, sound like not to make this about me or whatever, but like I definitely remember when the Colorado like movie shooting happened, and I wound up working at the movies 2-3 years later, something like that. After that, so I remember like the climate was still high there, and obviously like they don't mess around. They run the drills. They like we have sit downs. Like all the procedure, and it makes you think. It makes you wonder because that shit happened, and it's a shame that it's not gonna fucking stop. I'm not gonna waste too much of your time on the fucking rhetoric. You know it already. We can move along. Actually, we're on our last bit though. So let's end on this isn't even a fucking high note. I wish I could say I'm giving you good news, but it's kind of part and partial. We'll take what we can get, right? Whoa, yeah. All right. From Reuters, Biden administration to ask Supreme Court to stop abortion pill curbs. So let's just gotta get to the meat, or what I'm considering the meat here, and then we'll work around the crap. The New Orleans-based Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals late on Wednesday put on hold part of last Friday's order by U.S. District Judge Matthew Cashmark in Amarillo, Texas, that would have removed the drug from the market by suspending the FDA approval while he hears a lawsuit by anti-abortion groups seeking to ban it. The Fifth Circuit, however, declined to block portions of Cashmark's order, reinstating restrictions on the pill's distribution that have been lifted since 2016. In addition to a requirement of 3 in-person doctor visits to prescribe and dispense the drug, those restrictions include limiting its use to the first 7 weeks of pregnancy, down from the current 10. So this is kind of the best we could do in an emergency situation here. Also, it's not something I didn't talk about when we initially talked about this banning that Cashmark, fuck his name, put into place, was that this is like a clear example of judge shopping. Essentially what that is the group that wanted to, like the anti-abortion group that wanted to see this mifepristone pill get banned, they waited and waited and waited and went to this judge in Texas where there were no other dissenting opinions. It was just him. And he was like an avid anti-abortion guy. Like a lot of his career, he's just decorated about it. That's why when he heard their arguments, he just said, "Oh yeah, that's so fucking based. I love it. I'm just gonna use it in my whole fucking thoughts and thesis here, my like summation of how I view this law, and we're all simpatico here." And that's how we're here now. Now, granted, from Washington, they found a judge on the other end of the spectrum, an example of the judge shopping, whatever. They found a person who's like, okay, what we'll say here is, at least in these like dozen states, these Democratic areas, you can for sure have this pill. So where we're at now is more or less, we've talked about from the New Orleans Fifth Court. But obviously these new stipulations are going to make it a bit different. And then, not to mention, you have Biden besieging the Supreme Court to, rule in on this, potentially kind of speed up the process, get this in the docket earlier so that you can have, a closing arguments so we can have, a thing to say here. Problem is, we're talking about a supermajority still. Nothing has fucking changed. Despite the fact that, we're talking about all this bullshit about all this, extra ass fucking travel trips of luxury and cool fucking relics that Harlan Crow is giving Clarence Thomas, which also I've learned a little bit more about Harlan Crow, which I don't even think I'm gonna be putting any of these thoughts and stuff on the pod. But if you're a Chabo Trap House fan, then you already know the shit is crazy. Fuck that guy. Fucking rich bitch monster type motherfuckers. Like, you just shouldn't get rich. You just shouldn't get rich. I mean, obviously we all want to get rich. I would love it. But, it makes you weird. It makes you so fucking weird and nasty and cringy. I don't know, man. Ew. This guy's got so much money. He's, like I said, he's just giving cool little artifact knickknacks to people. Like, oh, you're my friend. Like I said, here's this Frederick Douglass fucking memoir book that he, handwritten. His little notes. Here you go. I like you, man. Figured you'd like that. But anyway, this supermajority is still a supermajority. And they're going to say, they could easily just say no. Case Marsh says, right, you run it exactly how he says. And that in this method could just be nixed. Done. So we'll see. Honestly, that's why we gotta kind of count this as a dub, because the Fifth Circuit here from New Orleans could have said that, and they didn't. They at least said, we'll cut the baby a little bit, which maybe that's a bit morbid to say, but fuck it. All puns are intended on this podcast. I don't know. I don't have anything else to really add here. I know there's going to be more down the road. But yeah, I mean, this shit sucks. The climate for women is very hostile. The climate for, trans people is hostile. For gay people is hostile. For black people is hostile, man. Shit. It's hard. It's so hard out here, man. Obviously, it sucks to talk about that shit time and time again, but, I try to add some levity where I can. I try to do my best to get it right, and hopefully it gets you thinking, and hopefully it starts more discourse on shit. I don't know why I do it. I just enjoy this shit, and I appreciate you for sticking with me. So, thanks. Let's see. I gotta hop into shill mode though. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. That's if you want to get the extra episodes that I put up every week. Also, you get the hot link to the Discord. Though I will say that's a free option. You just gotta find me and I will give you that. Put you in the Discord where I don't share government secrets. It's just cool memes that aren't racist. Also, you get a shout out every month. You become a newsie, and that is a high privilege. Also, if you'd like, I can do a little advertising for you, or you can talk about I'll plug any news you want to talk about. I love doing that. But once again, that's something you can do for free if you find me and want to, talk to me. Hey, this thing happened, Isaiah, you might want to talk about it. And there's a good goddamn chance that I might. But let's see, free ways to hit me up. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Also, Facebook, Twitter. Every once in a while, I dust off my Tumblr, but most likely Facebook or Twitter. Those are the best ways to really find me these days. Yeah, you can just hit me up. Call me, beat me if you want to reach me. But hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.